Hey ladies and gents, it's Zembak, and we are looking at the crew, right? To get your ships from point A to point B, you need a crew. Specifically, you need well-trained crewmen and all that kind of stuff. So early game, it's not really a big deal to find crew. You just go to every station. For example, this one's my shipyard. I'm going to push F to interact, and we're going to go to hire crew, right? And you can pick up pilots, miners, gunners, mechanics, engineers, and of course your average everyday crewman. And it'll change at different stations that you go to. What you can get there for actual. So this one's got lieutenants, right? But it does take a little bit of, when you get a smaller ship, it's not hard to keep crewmen on stock, right? Or you just pull into a system. You can check every single station, and you can hire a crew out, right? It's not really that hard to find crewmen. However, when you get to the point where you're starting to get into these larger ships, for example, the Durandal has a crew of about 85-37 right now, and actually I'm over quite a bit here on several of these things. I have 4 captains. I usually carry extra crew for this ship because if I'm doing something somewhere, right, it's nice to have extra crew if I want to build a station or whatever, or build a mine or whatever. So I always carry extra anyway. So like I said, some of these ships get rather large, right? And you need thousands of crew members, and not just tens or even hundreds, but you need thousands. Like I said, early game, not hard to get. Mid game, still not that hard to get. Run around with 500-600 crew is not that hard. But when you start to get into thousands and thousands, it gets a little more difficult. But we have a new option. There's a couple new blocks that just came out. One of them is the Academy block, and one of them is the cloning pods. However, this is the way I'm going to show you how I used to get. I still get, this is actually still the way I get most of my crew members compared to using this new system, but we're going to actually look at the new system too. What I have here is a depot ship, cruise ship, right here. It's the Olympic. It is designed specifically, kind of looks like an old freighter, or an old cruise liner, I guess. This is designed specifically for hauling crew and fighters to new bases, new defense asteroids, whatever, right? I load up 120 fighters. I load up enough crew members to settle a new system, go to the system, drop off, fill up whatever base needs crew members. So if you'll notice, the number here on this ship is, I have a capacity of 135,000, right? This is specifically designed to carry crew, right? So, I have 290 pilots, 17,000 mechanics, 24,000 engineers, 4 captains, so I have a large number of these, and this is actually down. Usually I'm sitting at least 100,000 of the 135,000, but I just restationed or remanned a couple stations, enlarged them and whatnot, so I'm down a little bit of crew here. So the easiest way to get this crew back, of course, is jumping here to the Durandal. Here, we'll get a little close enough that we can transfer crew members. Alright, so we're going to interact with the Durandal, and what we're going to do is transfer we're going to transfer all of the Durandal's crew to the Olympic, right? So you've noticed I've gained quite a bit more crew, so we're at the 58,000. So we gained 8,000 from the Durandal crew. Now that's over here. Now to get this guy back up and crewed, we're going to see, I don't have a single, or I shouldn't have a single ship, or a single. You can just see how bad it is. However, there is an option in this game, if people don't know this, and this is how I gain. When I have these big systems like this, and I need a lot of crew, this is how I usually gain it. I'll take the, if you remember the Dreadnought, the one I did over the big, huge, that bugger with the 55 million hull and 73 million shields and 1 million Omicron firepower. That ship's got a massive crew in it. So a lot of times I'll just take that ship, jump, or I'll pull it over here, pull the Olympic next to it, and I'll just start transferring crews over it and hiring it out, of course. The easiest way to do that is, of course, hit your shipyard. You have to have a shipyard to do this, but we're going to hire a crew here, and we're going to see here's a request transport. You can request a transport as long as you have your ship needs at least 300 or more crew members. So we're going to request that transport, and there should be inbound transport here in the next 30 seconds or so. And won't be my own transport, of course. It'll be one of these local yahoos, right? So this was the easiest way that I found to pick up crew, the fastest, I should say. I mean, yeah, obviously you can go to station to station to station, but like I said, when you need thousands of crew members, usually I start out small, build my first ship up to about 500-600 crew, and then from there I start transferring crews to either a depot ship or a crew transport, or I built it on one of my stations. I put a large barracks there, and then I just start transferring crews over, as long as I have the shipyard here where I can request hiring the crew, whatnot here. So transport here is coming, and they currently flying to my location. So he's around here somewhere. There he is. It's probably him right there. Oh, heavy transport. Heavy cargo, I should say. Let's make sure we turn off the torpedoes, because I don't want... Actually, turn off all the weapons in case we decide to accidentally smack him. So, here is our crew transport. And we're going to get close enough here. There's, see, it says crew transport. We're going to get close enough here that we can interact. There we go. And we're going to transfer the crew over. There we go. So the problem is since the ship is so big and the crew transports that are coming in, sometimes you get too big of ship and you might have to do this twice, right? So he just brought me enough to cover the basics, right? So the miners aren't required because I had no mining turns down here. Security, borders, none of that stuff is required. This is only the stuff that's required to keep the ship running. So I got a full cargo, or I got a full crew now. I've dropped off all my extra crew over there, and if I want to continue to repeat this process, of course, I'll just dump this crew into the Olympic and do it again, right? Builds up thousands of crew members without having to jump around and check things out constantly over and over again. So this is how I used to do it, right? So the new version of this, of course, is the changes in crew academy blocks and what they call cloning pods. So we're going to jump over to that. Now, if you noticed, if you have been a while since we've been here, I've changed my home system. I've gone to pretty much all asteroid bases and asteroid factories now. So I'm switching a bunch of this stuff out, kind of cleaning up the system here. I parked all my spaceship that are in system over to the far side, kind of cleaned up the space a little bit, and of course now I've essentially gone to changing all my stations and factories over to asteroids, and we'll do a video about that too a little bit later here. So we're going to jump to my new one here, which is it's a habitat. I just use habitat because it kind of fits the whole thingy, right? You know, habitat, crew, whatever. And we're going to look on the outside of it here, which is the builds. What this is essentially the fighter production. You'll see here I have a cloning capacity of 11,000, academy capacity of 8,261. That's just, you know, these are where these big blocks are here. There's right there, that's the academy block. This one is a cloning pod block. Yeah, so they just, this is what produces the clones and the trained crews. This is, like I said, designed specifically just to do this. This is what it's, this is what we're going to do with this base, or this factory, I guess you'd want to call it. And we're going to look at the actual numbers here. So here's the crew. I have a capacity of 11,000. I got about 5,700 right now, with about 5,000 crew members. So, unfortunately, this is not the way I wanted it. I really wish when they said cloning, I got kind of excited, right? I was thinking cloning, I could take my level 3, say my level 3 captain right here, and I could be able to clone him. Unfortunately, no, that's not how it works. Cloning, maybe later on, right? It might work. But clones are essentially clones crew members, which are these guys, the untrained workforce. So I can clone those. So let's say if I want 500 more crew members, we'll kick it over here, and it'll start producing these clones. It's cost me $50 for a clone. Yeah. So yeah, it's it's probably. Essentially, if you're looking for a large amount of crew members, a large amount of specifically trained stuff, like mechanics, boarders, sergeants, and all that kind of stuff, this is the way this will work. It just takes time, right? With the other method I was showing you is almost instantaneous. But if you have the time and stuff here, and also, like I said, I'm cloning these guys, 500 of them. I'll clone 500 of them, and when they're done, I'll have 5,547 crew members, right? So that's how that cloning works. I was hoping that I was going to be able to clone actual, leveled up workers, but it doesn't work that way. You only get to clone crewmen. However, you can take the crewmen now after you clone them, and you can give them specific. You can train them for specific things: engineers, gunners, mechanics, whatnot here. So for example here, I want another 100 engineers. So there we go. Now this is going to clone me 105 engineers. This one right now is working on cloning me boarders. I got 1,000 boarders currently being trained in the academy. This is essentially what this is. So you need the academy block, and you need a cloning block. Now you can of course do this on the ship here. So like for this captains right here, I got 5 of them right now currently being trained as level 1 captains, which is kind of, I do believe they turn up level 1. But yeah, that's how it's going to work. So yeah, that's the new. It's not new. It's been out for a little bit here, but the first time I did a video on it. That's how the academy works and how the cloning works, right? So you clone the crew members, and you use the academy to turn them into trained mechanics, miners, gunners, engineers, right? You can do this on your ship, of course, as well. However, I just did this on a actual factory base, I guess you want to call it, and just built a massive block of academy and cloning capacity so I can turn these out as fast as I can. Yeah, so that's what that's the new way of getting crew, right? I mean, obviously there's nothing wrong with the old way, but like I said, you start setting up these very large crews and whatnot, or large stations and whatnot. It is relatively easy to gain a lot of crew this way. So hopefully this explains some of the new stuff, some of the things. Hopefully some of you maybe haven't thought about using multiple ships to gain lots of crew, and simply using the higher crew request transport is obviously, in my opinion, the easiest way to gain a large amount. However, with this new system like this, I can let this sit and cook for, play for 3-4 hours, and gain a fair amount of crew, just by, now I have some place to go to get the crew that like captains are sometimes not easy to find. Sometimes lieutenants and generals are not easy to find. Here, this is probably going to be a little bit easier, in the long run for that to happen. So with that said, guys, thanks for watching, and you guys have a good night.